Hey guys, I'm trying my best to smile. Keep on smiling. We have our review to do on Smile. Keep on smiling. Smile. And be happy. Always be happy. Just keep on smiling. Let's do the review. My jaw's getting tired now. Let's do this. Hey guys, what's up? I'm back with another video, and in today's video we're going to do the review for Smile. Now, from my honest reactions to this episode, I actually found this episode was really great. It was even better than what I originally expected. It was so good. I would even say that Frank Kuntel Boyce, this is actually a much better story than In the Forest of the Night. Way better than In the Forest of the Night. I thought that this episode was so great, especially with the emoji bars. I really like them. Not only just because they're cute and quite adorable, but the way they have their different types of emojis whenever they're looking at Peter Capaldi and Pearl Mackie. And also the skull face emojis, like gosh, they are creepy. Like, even the killing, even the little killing scene of where the Vardis just get basically slice and dice and eat the flesh of the person being slaughtered by the Vardis. That killing scene was so terrifying and so sinister. I actually felt hooked up to the episode more than anything, because the emoji bots showing how sinister and how creepy they are with their sinister skull emoji really made me so terrified of them. It made me very afraid of the emoji bots, and that's what thing that I was looking for in this episode. A shock and a surprise to really scare me about these emoji bots, and that's what I got in this episode. And I had to say that this episode had some beautiful shots, and not only I had to say that they didn't use any CGI work to produce the entire glorious city of paradise. No, where they actually filmed for Smile, that building there is actually a real building. It's not CGI fake building, it's actually a real building there in Valencia in Spain. So filming there, it would have been so amazing, because it looks like a futuristic kind of city, and it looks so new and so peaceful that it just feels like a very beautiful place to be. Like that, those shots were so glorious and so stunning. The scenes kind of reminded me that this is almost like paradise. It almost feels like a futuristic version of heaven, in my opinion. It just looks and feels so peaceful and such of a fantastic place to be. And even Pearl Mackie was so surprised with her reaction to Valencia. Even the place, it looked so futuristic, and she was absolutely so amazed by everything and what she's seeing in the episode. Even Peter Capaldi was so amazed. Welcome to paradise. And the one thing that many people are absolutely going to be thrilled in this episode, you know why? Because Nardo very little appeared in this episode, because he was only here in the episode, only briefly, just to say, oh doctor, do you want a cup of tea? I'll put the kettle on. And then suddenly he went out of the TARDIS, and no more Nardo for the rest of the episode. That really cheered up many people of Doctor Who, because I know people don't like Nardole, and if Nardole was in this episode, then it would make the whole episode a whole lot sillier, and it would have completely ruined the episode. So I'm glad that Nardole wasn't in this episode, because I actually felt that the silliness in this episode really helped with the humour of this episode, because there were certainly some funny lines in this episode, especially Bill's keeping reminding that Penguin with his arse on fire in the TARDIS. That was so funny, and even so it's still funny today, because there was some great questions that Bill asked to the Doctor, like, where are the seatbelts in the TARDIS? Like, who would usually ask that? I mean, this is one of the best things I like about Bill. Apart from all of the other companions in Doctor Who, Bill is one companion that would always ask, like, why does the TARDIS not have seatbelts? And Bill would usually be the one companion, in my opinion, ask so many unusual questions that it would be the questions that we would ask. And I have to say that Bill is so fantastic in this episode. I just have to say that. And even so, from her reactions to just enjoying the entire trip and the experience in this episode, she feels like, thank you, you're such a great tutor. And she just feels so happy. And I just feel that little scene where she just feels like, this is a great day out. She feels so happy, and it really connects me that she's absolutely enjoying the lifetime, travelling through time and space to a futuristic world, and she's absolutely having a blast. This is what I love about Doctor Who, just shocking us with so many surprises. And with Bill was just so fantastic, especially when she was just eating blue jelly all the time. But it was so strange that they don't have any chips in a futuristic world. I mean, really? No chips, just blue jelly? Fine then. And even so, when the Doctor was mentioning to Bill, like, we're not going home, I'm going to go inside and see if I can blow the entire thing up. Now, the only one criticism that many people have over some episodes, that the Doctor completely doesn't know what to do anymore, so he just basically blows up the entire place up, and that's job done. End of the episode. Move on. However, in this episode, it's not really like that. I actually think that when the Doctor says he's going to blow the thing up, I wasn't really too sure whether he was going to do it or whether he was going to do something else instead. Because I actually looked at the time and it was like, wow, so is this episode a bit short, or is he actually just seriously going to blow up the entire thing? So I was a bit puzzled on that question. And whether should I have a little emoji mood on my back maybe to say I'm puzzled? Because I definitely felt that the emoji and the mood indicators on Bill and the Doctor's backs were so initiative, and they were so unique, because it actually made me think that, right, maybe should I have one on my back? Because do people really want to know what mood I'm in when I've got like emoji robots coming after me with a skull emoji on their face? Like, seriously. I think the so much emoji things that they had to introduce to this episode to make it fully head on with emojis, it was quite subtle for me, because the mood indicators were actually a really nice touch to the episode, because although you couldn't really see what mood you're already in, it kind of affected you in some way and kind of sends data to the emoji robots that you're not happy, and it just keeps everybody so intact with the world that they're living in. I mean, the emoji robots are only there as a user interface to see if they can maintain happiness in the entire city, but if somebody's not happy or not satisfied with what they're providing with, then unfortunately you see that the emoji robots have like a little teardrop down one eye, feel like that they're not being satisfied enough. But then when you get two teardrops, that means that you're completely not happy, and then suddenly the completely crying face of the emoji robots completely turn into a menacing skull face. And the way the bodies kill people just by slicing and dicing up the one person just at the start was so terrifying. It was one of the most best scenes that I loved about this episode. The way the bodies just actually kill and just actually hide in the sidelines, just hide in the walls. Well, actually, they are the walls. They're not hiding in the walls. They are actually the walls of the entire city. And would you think that the Vardis are actually made of the entire city? So would you say that the Vardis are actually a very interesting thing about the episode? I would have to say they are, because from my initial reaction to the Vardis, I wouldn't think that they would be the main threat. I thought they would just be some robotic birds, but no. I actually had my eye on the Vardis all the time, because they felt really interesting to me, because they kind of had a representation of, like, they kind of reminded me of, like, the nanogenes in Series 1, of how they kind of maintained the, the humans' appearances in The Empty Child and the Doc dances. And then in this episode, the Vardis were actually, the little tiny little robots actually maintained all of their happiness. And if people weren't happy with what they were given, then the Vardis will send information to the emoji robots to put on their skull faces, and then the Vardis will come in and do the slicing and killing. And so that actually really builds up a really great suspense to the episode, because the bodies are actually really, really interesting. And especially the humour in this episode was so funny. I just had to mention a few scenes where there was one scene where Bill and the Doctor were running down a corridor and they were surrounded by all of the emoji bots and they were completely blocked off. So they didn't know what to do except for smile. And then basically Bill and the Doctor were walking to the emoji bots and they were completely talking and smiling at the same time. God, it just looked so cheesy with the scenes. It just looked so cheesy and very cringy as well. But wow, it made me not even recognise because it was so funny. I was crying at that time when they were basically doing that scene, smiling and just basically talking at the same time. It just looked so cheesy, that scene. Oh my gosh, I was laughing out loud with that. And then also another thing that I also liked, where the Doctor was actually telling Bill, go watch some movies in the TARDIS. I've got broadband so you'll be able to watch. And then suddenly, where Bill was saying, but like, where's the space police? Where's the helpline? Well, actually, you know, because Bill doesn't really know that the Doctor is actually the helpline. The Doctor was like a space policeman travelling in a police box, seriously. And then the one remark that the Doctor made just before he was going to wander off back into the city, don't look at my browsing history. Don't look at it. What's the Doctor been watching? What's he been watching? Sorry guys, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting the review, but seriously, with some funny scenes, I mean, even the same old joke, you run like a penguin with his arse on fire, that is still funny. And I'm not trying to say that the humour kind of sidetracks it, that the episode's so silly, but it makes it really enjoying. It makes it such a light-hearted episode, and even the laughter of what I'm doing right now, it actually makes me so happy. Because I feel so happy right now just talking about this episode. Actually, the plot was actually really, really good. I didn't think it was a weak plotline in my opinion. Some people may thought it was an okay plotline and thought the ending was a bit rushed. However, I do like the plot because I thought it was really interesting how imagine if there were colonists travelling to a new destination and they were thinking of going to a new destination to live in paradise and world of peace. They would usually send up robots to go there and build the place that they would be expected. So the robots will build the buildings and also places and stuff like that. So they'll actually create the environment, control the atmosphere and build all of these entire buildings. So it'll actually be all prepared for when the colonists do arrive. They are expected all of this amazing stuff to be like paradise, like heaven in almost. So I definitely really liked how that was a really great thing to add to the episode because it really developed the stronger plotline to the episode. And the one thing I felt was really ingenious, the fertilizer. So ingenious because I thought it was a really interesting concept to keep the fertilizer, because although calcium-based fertilizer, at first I didn't know what that meant, but then suddenly when I saw the skulls and the bones, what are bones made out of? Calcium. And they basically grind up all of the skulls into a fine powdered dust and they use that to fertilize the crops. That is such an ingenious idea, but still evil as well. It's creepy, but ingenious as well. So I would have to say that I really do like Smile. It makes me so happy with just a smile on my face. Because it's just a really entertaining episode in my opinion. And I just felt that when Bill was having a great time of her life, and I was really going along with her because she was really having a brilliant time. Unfortunately, I would have liked if the Vardis and the emoji robots kind of killed a few more people to make it such of an intimidating and threatening episode. That would be really, really good. But although since we only got the one, I'm happy with just the one killing scene, because that killing scene of the Vardis killing that person, so terrifying. I can't even stop talking about that scene because that scene is so awesome. Oh wow. If they had more scenes like that, then my rating would seriously go up. Like seriously. I really enjoyed this episode because on the whole, the Doctor didn't really blow anything up at all. Although in the effects and also the shots may think that the entire building was completely blown up, but no, everything was still intact. And so do you know what happens where you have a computer or a robot and it's not working properly? What do? You don't really blow up a computer if something goes wrong or something like that. Do you know what you do? You turn it off and you turn it back on again, restarting the whole thing. And that's basically what the Doctor did. He basically reprogrammed the emoji bots and the Vardis to make the colonists convinced that the emoji robots and the Vardis hardly know the humans at all, and the emoji robots and the Vardis actually created this world for the humans, but they didn't know that the humans actually want the whole place to themselves. Because as you can think that if everything's completely restarted and reprogrammed, the emoji robots don't even know what the humans are actually doing here. And the Vardis actually think that, right, what these humans are here for, I'm not too sure. Should I destroy them all and stuff like that? And so it was quite a difficult arrangement. And then suddenly when the Doctor was talking to one emoji bot, being quite happy and very smiley, and then should we arrange rents and stuff like that? It means that the Doctor's going to buy the whole city for the colonists to live in, and to the point where, you know, so did you really buy an entire city for people or colonists? Somebody's got to do the dirty work, and how are you still a policeman? Like, well, I'm a policeman and I live in a police box. Simple as that. I just had to say that this episode was so fantastic because it was such of a light-hearted episode that I just have to say that I really thoroughly enjoyed the entire episode. And I really liked the little in-between little scenes of where Bill looked inside the little book and then saw all the the little history, and you know, kind of saw loads of history, culture, war and destruction. That really made Bill quite emotional in that sense, because as she was looking through all of these wondering kind of pictures of statues and culture and history, she was quite interested. And then when she saw the destruction, I saw a tear coming down her eye, and that really made me connected to Bill a bit more, because she's one companion that asks weirdly a lot of good, great, unusual questions, and she has so much emotion in Doctor Who, and that we can really connect to her. And I thought Bill's performance in this was so fantastic, and the way that she was tagging along with Peter Capaldi, the Doctor, I think the Doctor was really, really good. Although he initially thought that his entire reaction to solving this episode was to blow up the entire thing, but then suddenly he got it wrong and started to reprogram and put things to where they were back to normal. And he had a second thought of what's happening in the episode. And then he decided, instead of having a massacre of grief, and he was doing his thinking strategies, and I think I love it where the Doctor's thinking so perfectly, and then suddenly he goes into a lecture and he talks about what's happening and what's going on. I think what's better than a massacre? A lecture. That's better than a massacre. Much better. And the way that the Vardis handle with grief, that's such an interesting concept. And just the way that they kind of talked, that Bill and the Doctor talk to each other on what's happening or what's going on, and that they really know what's going on, and that they really get along with each other so well. And I think just the relationship between both of them are just so impendable, and really they were so great together in this episode. Although I really like their humorous kind of lines with each other, and that you have two hearts. Yeah, why not? But you have two hearts, why have one? And just like Bill was kind of a bit puzzled on when where the Doctor actually said that, and it's to the point where they have such of a great relationship, and the Doctor loves travelling with Bill, and Bill loves travelling alongside the Doctor, and I think their relationship is so brilliant in this episode. I really see a much bigger bond between them both. And with Nardole in this episode, didn't really see much of him, because I thought that was a really good thing. Because if Nardole definitely was in the episode, oh my gosh, would it be a lot sillier? I think so. Because although I'm a big fan of Nardole, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say I hate him, but I think for this episode, Nardole's not necessary in this episode. I think just with Bill and Capaldi, and just to see how their relationship really strengthened up with this episode just shows how much of a great team they work together with Capaldi's great knowledge, and then you've got Bill with her unusual questions and the way that the Doctor reacts to them in some strange reaction that it always makes it so funny when the Doctor's not even heard of this. But Bill really gets alongside the Doctor, and within this episode I really do see a great connection between them both. I just have to say that I really do like Smile, because it was a great light-hearted episode and I thoroughly enjoyed the entire episode. I thought it was so great. And my rating for this episode, since I'm so happy, and to be honest with you, this episode was so much better than what I originally expected. So I'm actually giving this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Because, to be honest with you, this work by Frank Quitell Boyce is way better than in The Forest of the Night. Way better. So I would have to say that I've given him a chance, and for this episode, he definitely delivered a great Doctor Who story. And to be honest with you, if I ever see Frank's name in another Doctor Who story, what memories would I have of him now? Although he did in The Forest of the Night, but he did Smile. And that made me really happy, because now he has something to look up to as one of his proudest works of Doctor Who. And I definitely have to say that Lawrence Gough, the director, did some brilliant, stunning shots. I mean, the location, I have to say again, is so tremendously beautiful. I can't really argue enough how sensational the location looks. It just looks fantastic. And the emoji robots are so great within this episode. Although the way they change their emojis to being happy, being sad, worried, and then to their skull emojis. Holy cow, they just look so scary. And the next time that I put down an emoji, I'll be really petrified to see, is there a skull emoji on my phone or something like that, or any Android or tablet device? Will there be any more emojis? Wow, I'm absolutely so amazed of how Smile has got a much bigger reaction from many Doctor Who fans. Many people thought this episode was really awesome. And I can see from their reactions that they're putting down in so many comments that they're actually putting there so many emoji comments. The emojis are going absolutely ballistic, and I think from Smile, it made people more wary and more aware of how to use emojis and how they can really connect to our emotions and see how we feel about our emotions. And throughout this episode, I definitely saw a lot of grief, I saw a lot of scariness, I definitely saw a lot of worriedness and upsettingness, but most importantly, I saw a lot of happiness in this episode. And even so, with the Doctor and Bill smiling at the emoji robots when they were trying to get out of the corridor. Oh, such of a cheesy scene, but definitely added to the silliness. And I think the silliness really helped with the episode, making it such of a light-hearted episode so that everybody can really enjoy it. Although many people don't really like the concept of using emojis, however, I think it's something different, it's something original, and I think it's an original story. To be honest with you, I think Frank did a fantastic job on this episode. I absolutely really liked it, especially with the emoji bots and also the Vardis. Almost like the nanogenes in Series 1. They may be invisible in this episode, but I always had my eye on them because they were really great. And although they were the entire threat to the episode, they did the killing, most importantly. Flesh-eating Vardis, like, oh my gosh. I can't even stop talking about the killing scenes because they were just so amazing. Although I would have liked to have more killing scenes in this episode, but I'm overly chuffed of having just the one, just showcasing how sinister the emoji bots and how scary the Vardis really are. Although they may be invisible and quite secretive within the walls, but they are an absolutely terrifying threat in this episode, I have to say. This episode has been so fantastic, and I think Frank should be proud of this work because I gave him a second chance and he absolutely delivered a great story for Doctor Who. A brilliant, great story for for Frank. Something to look up to. And for Thin Ice, the Next Time trailer looks really, really interesting in my opinion. What's under the themes? Nardo's not going to be in this episode, I don't hope, because when the Doctor was actually going to program the TARDIS to go to its next destination, obviously he was going to go back to his office and have his nice cup of tea when Nardo was just about to put on the kettle, but instead he ran into trouble and found himself back in the past, in the Thames, and then suddenly enough he found an elephant. An elephant? Near the Thames? Near the Thames or the Thames? Oh, jeez. I'm even getting my Thames and Thames wrong. Gosh. I think the pronunciation needs to be on point for my preview for Thin Ice. But I know many people would say about the how the monster under the Thames looks really, really interesting, and I'm actually really looking forward to another historical story again. I just hope that it's going to be a really interesting historical story, because I just think that within Doctor Who, William Hartnell has been the best Doctor to produce great historical stories, and I think in this episode, will it be a great historical? I'm just hoping it is. But I have to say that I thoroughly enjoyed this light-hearted episode of Smile. And I just have to say that the emoji robots surprised me. They were absolutely great in this episode. Really cute and adorable, but really sinister as well. And I thought the Doctor and Bill's performances in this episode were truly, truly brilliant. Again, 8.5 rating out of 10. It's not a bad rating, I have to say. Frank did a really great job. So guys, that's my review on Smile. I hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure you leave this video a like and also comment down below what your thoughts on Smile are. And also, please do put down in the comments down below, put a smiling emoji. Please do that. Smile. Be happy. And make sure you do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I have certainly enjoyed Smile. Although it was going to be the most light-hearted episode of Series 10, and many people were looking forward to it, but to me, I thoroughly enjoyed Smile. And please do comment down below your thoughts on Smile, because I'm really interested to see how many emojis are you going to put for this episode. Put 10 if you thought it was a really great episode, or put 1 if it was a good episode or just an okay episode. Or just say, just put as many as you like, because Smile just really makes you happy. And for this, Smile really made me happy. And it made me more intrigued for the next episode, Thin Ice. Anyway guys, thank you for watching for this review on Smile, and I will see you guys next time for the preview for Thin Ice. Don't try to break through the ice, because there is something underneath the Thames. Oh my gosh. I'm getting my pronunciations right. I need to get this right for next time's preview. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys for the preview for Thin Ice. See you guys then.